Hello, college football fans. Here we are talking about Ohio State versus Tennessee, the first ever college football playoffs this season, and the Buckeyes got a tough matchup with Tennessee. The one thing that really concerns me the most now, Tennessee's going to want to run the ball. Sampson seems to have had a very strong year, definitely putting it in the end zone a lot for Tennessee. But Dante Thornton Jr., the wide receiver, didn't have a lot of catches on the year, but he averaged 26 yards a catch. And that is something that could just be an absolute dagger right in the chest of the Buckeyes. They have just notoriously had trouble, no matter how good their secondary is, who the defensive backs are, where they end up in the NFL. They have these games where they just stick to that man-on-man defense, and occasionally you run up against a guy like Dante Thornton Jr., who will just absolutely burn your ass, and they cannot afford that to happen. I mean, they'd be better off allowing a little bit of running by. I mean, they just really got to keep an eye on Thornton. I don't want to say they can just let Sampson run the ball. That's obviously stupid. What they need to do is stop both of them, you know? Tennessee's passing game overall, not that much of a threat other than this guy. You know, it seems like they want to run the ball, and then, okay, if it gets to 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, they'll throw it. But really, it's what they want to do a couple times a game is hit Thornton deep down the field. He's got 6 touchdowns on the year, only 25 receptions. But like I said, 26 yards per reception. You know, and if it's going back years ago against Penn State, that loss, that killed Ohio State. It seemed like all game long, Penn State completing passes, not even necessarily touchdown passes, just 30 and 40-yard chunks at a time. Oregon this year, obviously, they had some trouble. And now, here we go again. So hopefully they have got this taken care of. Whatever they have to do to keep that guy in check. I want, like, no catches out of that guy. You know, if they throw a little screen pass to him for 3 yards and he's immediately tackled, fine. Let these other guys, because the rest of the Tennessee receivers don't necessarily strike fear into your heart, as they say. And on the Ohio State side of the ball, look, they have that one. Tennessee will give up some sacks. So just which defensive line is going to show up for Ohio State? Are they going to be able to get any pressure at all? We will see. I don't feel great about it, really, but who knows? Every now and then they can have a great game that shocks you and will get pressure on the quarterback. So if the defensive line has one of their best games of the year, they can get some sacks on Tennessee for sure. And as far as stopping the Tennessee run, we'll see. I'm sure Tennessee's going to get their yards on the ground. Sampson looks like he's pretty strong. So basically, get to the quarterback. Do not allow Thornton Jr. long plays through the air. That's pretty much a pretty simple game plan, but that's really it. It's not that it's nothing too complex what Tennessee's wanting to do, you know. So we'll see how it shakes out. I am a little concerned about the line battle between Tennessee's offensive line, which I know very little about, but I'm assuming they got a decent offensive line. Although they have given up the sacks. Could be on the quarterback, though. As quarterback, you see him in press conferences. That mustache, he looks like, you know, he may be a risk taker. So some of these sacks could be on him. And then he had his moment in the Arkansas loss, similar to Howard in the Oregon loss, where, wow, you know, as soon as it's over, you're just like, why did I do that, you know? And those were each team's bad loss. Well, I wouldn't say the Oregon loss. Obviously, the Michigan was Ohio State's bad loss. The loss to Arkansas being Tennessee's. Big wins over at Oklahoma and Alabama for Tennessee. I guess Ohio State's big wins at Penn State versus Indiana. I think I'd take the at Oklahoma and Alabama wins. They got a little stronger strength of wins there. And then it seemed like a lot of Tennessee's wins did coming home at Georgia, L, at Arkansas, L. And for Ohio State, it's pretty simple. They also want to run the ball. Hopefully not as much as they appear to want to run the ball against Michigan. Although it seemed like they lost some faith in Howard, huh? Hopefully they get that faith is restored in Howard. I would think that Egbuka and Jeremiah Smith will strike some fear. Although, what was the name? Was it Will Brooks? Will Brooks was the name I kept hearing a lot when I was watching some Tennessee games and some highlights. So we'll see what's going on there between the Ohio State receivers and the Tennessee secondary. I'm sure Tennessee's got some strong linebackers, but the Buckeyes running game, you know, it's not all offensive line. In fact, the offensive line's been a little bit shaky, you know, for a while now. But the between Judkins and Henderson, So one of those guys can obviously have a big game. They can both strike you at any time, just bust a long one. Henderson, he should be the fresher of the two, fewer carries. Actually, neither him or Judkins had a ton of carries compared to Sampson, like 250 carries. I think Henderson in the low 100s, cracking off about 7 yards a carry. So it'd be nice to see one of those guys bust a long one, get a nice easy drive for Ohio State, get some points on the board through a long run, just completely take it off of Will Howard. So that's my concern. The Buckeyes defensive line not getting pressure, the Buckeyes offensive line not performing, and Will Howard, you have to be concerned that Will Howard's going to make a mistake at some point, whether if it's a mental error, a interception, we'll see. They seem to have lost faith in him during the Michigan game. Hopefully that is not the case. I think I'm just repeating myself at this point. So, boom, we are out of here. Thanks for watching. Go Bucks. Good luck to the Vols. It's at Ohio State. I don't know what the crowd dispersion is going to be like. Hopefully there's not too much orange. Hopefully there's a bunch of knuckleheads looking like me. All right, guys. Boom. We're out of here. Man, that was a thumbnail. All right. Shout out to Big Vol Daddy. That's one guy I know on YouTube. I think he subscribed to me about a decade ago when we beat Alabama. Obviously, being a Tennessee guy, he must have loved that. All right, I'm out of here. Enough about Big Vol Daddy. Come on. Zep Zappa 20. We're the Buckeyes. You're in deep trouble. You're in big trouble, Mr. Tennessee. No, I don't know. What the hell am I talking about? This is ridiculous. Let's go.